The station's artificial lights hummed overhead as Captain Sarah Chen walked through the diplomatic quarters, her worn leather satchel bumping against her hip. 3 cycles had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council, and she still wasn't used to the stairs. Most species looked at humans with barely concealed fear, their eyes tracking the forward-facing placement that marked Terrans as apex predators. The door to her assigned quarters slid open with a soft hiss. Sarah stepped inside and froze. 3 small figures huddled in the corner of her living space, their silver-blue fur bristled in defensive postures. Velcorian cubs. Their species was known across the galaxy as one of the most efficient predators in council space, feared even by other carnivorous races. Computer. "Why are there children in my quarters?" Sarah asked calmly, setting down her bag. The station's AI responded in its neutral tone. "Ambassador Velcor has requested emergency childcare. All other species have declined due to fear classification. You were selected as compatible predator species." The largest cub, probably no more than 6 standard years old, bared tiny fangs at Sarah. "Stay back, human. We are dangerous. We have killed prey twice our size." Sarah couldn't help but smile. The cub's attempt at intimidation reminded her of her nephew pretending to be a dinosaur. She slowly lowered herself to sit cross-legged on the floor, maintaining a non-threatening posture. "I'm sure you have," she said gently. "I'm Sarah. What are your names?" The cubs exchanged confused glances. Apparently, no adult had ever asked them that while remaining calm. The largest one spoke again, uncertainty creeping into his voice. "I am Kreth. This is my sister Venna and my brother Plix. It's nice to meet you all." Sarah noticed their eyes darting around her quarters, taking in the foreign environment. They were scared, she realized, scared and trying desperately to hide it behind their predatory instincts. Venna, the middle cub with distinctive amber eyes, tilted her head. "You do not fear us? Other species flee when they see our teeth." Sarah shook her head. "On my world, we have a saying, the size of your teeth matters less than the size of your heart." She paused, then reached for her satchel. "Would you like to see something?" The cubs remained tense but curious. Slowly, Sarah pulled out a small rectangular object with a worn cover. It was an actual physical photo album, a rarity in an age of digital storage. She'd brought it with her from Earth as a reminder of home. "What is that?" Plix, the smallest, asked in a whisper. "Memories," Sarah replied. She opened the album to the first page, turning it so the cubs could see. "This is my family." The image showed a large gathering of humans of various ages, all smiling at the camera. The cubs crept closer despite themselves, their natural curiosity overcoming their defensive stance. Kreth pointed at the photo with one claw. "So many. Are these your pack warriors?" "No, just family. See this woman here?" Sarah pointed to a gray-haired lady in the center. "That's my grandmother. She's 93 years old. And these," she gestured to several smaller humans, "are my nieces and nephews. Children. Like you." Venna's ears twitched forward. "The old one is still alive? You did not challenge her for dominance?" The question hit Sarah harder than she expected. She'd known intellectually that many predator species operated on might-makes-right hierarchies, but hearing it from a child made it real. "No, sweetie. Humans don't work that way. In our families, we protect the old ones. We learn from them. My grandmother taught me how to cook, how to tell stories, how to be patient." Sarah turned the page. "See? This is her teaching my nephew how to bake bread." The photo showed the elderly woman's wrinkled hands guiding much smaller ones as they kneaded dough. Both figures were smiling, flour dusting their faces. Plix moved closer, his nose almost touching the album. "The small one is not afraid of the old one's weakness." "We don't see it as weakness," Sarah explained. We see it as wisdom, experience, love. Love? Kreth repeated the word as if testing out a foreign concept. What is love? Sarah turned another page. This image showed her as a teenager, arm wrapped around a large dog. Love is when you care about someone so much that their happiness makes you happy. When you do anything to keep them safe, not because they're strong, but because they matter to you. She continued flipping through the pages, narrating each image. Her parents dancing at their anniversary party, her brother teaching her to ride a bicycle, her sister braiding her hair before prom. The cubs gradually relaxed, sitting in a semicircle around her. "This one," Sarah said, pointing to a photo of herself covered in mud, beaming at the camera, "is from when I was about your age, Venna. I fell in a creek trying to catch frogs. My dad jumped in to get me, even though he was wearing his good work clothes. He wasn't mad. He just laughed and we caught frogs together." "Your sire did not punish you for the mistake?" Venna's voice was barely audible. "No, honey. Parents are supposed to teach us, not hurt us. Sometimes we make mistakes. That's how we learn." Sarah noticed the way all three cubs had gone very still. "Is that not how it works for Velcorians?" Kreth's jaw tightened. "Weakness must be purged. Mistakes are not tolerated. The strong survive. The weak do not." The clinical way he said it, as if reciting a lesson, made Sarah's heart ache. She turned to a photo near the back of the album. It showed her in a hospital bed, leg in a cast, surrounded by smiling family members. "I broke my leg in 3 places when I was 16, she said. "Rock climbing accident. I couldn't walk for months. By your people's standards, I was weak and helpless." "You should have been abandoned," Plix said matter-of-factly. "Resources should not be wasted on the injured." Sarah met his eyes. "My family didn't abandon me. My mom slept in the hospital room with me every night. My dad carried me up and down stairs. My siblings did my chores and brought me homework from school. They didn't help me because I was strong. They helped me because I was family. Because that's what love means." The cubs sat in silence, processing this information. Finally, Venna spoke, her voice trembling. "When Plix broke his tail last season, Father said he was foolish. That natural selection should take its course. Mother secretly brought him medicine, but she had to hide it." "Your mother loves you," Sarah said firmly. "And that's not weakness. That's the strongest thing in the universe." Kreth's ears flattened against his head. "At combat training, Instructor Velik says humans are soft, that you waste resources on the useless, that your way will make you extinct." Sarah closed the album gently. "Can I tell you something? Humans came from a world that tried very hard to kill us. We weren't the biggest, or the fastest, or the strongest. We survived because we worked together, because we took care of each other. That grandmother I showed you, she helped raise me while my parents worked. I wouldn't exist without that weakness." She opened the album again to the first page, to the large family gathering. "Every person in this picture has been weak at some point. Babies can't feed themselves. Sick people need medicine, old people need help, but we all take care of each other. And that made us strong enough to reach the stars." Plix climbed into Sarah's lap, something he probably wouldn't have dared do with an adult Velcorian. "Do human cubs ever get scared?" Sarah wrapped an arm around him, feeling his rapid heartbeat. "All the time. Being scared doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. Fear keeps us safe." "I am scared now," he whispered. "Mother and father left us here. What if they do not return? What if we were too weak and they decided to start new?" "Oh, sweetheart," Sarah pulled him closer. "Your parents had to attend an emergency council meeting. They'll be back in a few hours. They left you here because they trusted me to keep you safe, not because they're abandoning you." Venna moved closer, too. "How do you know?" "Because I spoke to your mother before she left. She was worried about leaving you. She made me promise 3 times that I'd make sure you ate dinner and didn't stay up too late. That's not what someone does when they're abandoning their children. Kreth remained slightly apart, his posture still defensive. Velkorian parents do not worry. They prepare offspring for reality. Sarah looked at him steadily. I think your parents worry more than you know. They just hide it because that's what they've been taught to do. But love doesn't disappear just because you're told not to show it. She turned to a different section of the album, to photos of holidays and celebrations. See these? Humans set aside special days just to be together, to share food and tell stories and remember that we matter to each other. Not because it makes us better hunters or warriors, but because it makes us happy. The image showed a table laden with food, people of all ages laughing together. In one corner, a teenager was helping a toddler reach for something. In another, an elderly man was showing something on his communicator to a group of interested children. The young one helps the small one, Venna observed, even though they could eat more themselves. That's what family does, Sarah said. We share, we help, we teach. Plix pointed to another photo. What are they doing here? The image showed people decorating a tree with lights and ornaments. That's called Christmas. It's a holiday where we give gifts to the people we love. Not because we have to, but because making others happy brings us joy. Gifts? Kareth's ears perked up despite his attempt at indifference. Resources given freely? Sarah nodded. The best gifts aren't even things. They're time spent together. Teaching someone a skill, helping with a problem, making someone laugh when they're sad. She showed them more photos, narrating the stories behind each one. Birthdays and graduations, ordinary dinners, and extraordinary adventures. Slowly, the cub's questions changed from confusion to curiosity to something that looked like longing. Do you miss them? Venna asked. Your family? Every day, Sarah admitted. But I carry them with me here. She tapped the album, then her chest over her heart. And when I go home, they'll be so excited to hear about everything I've learned and everyone I've met. That's another thing about family. Distance doesn't change love. Kreth finally moved closer, sitting beside his siblings. Do you think humans would laugh at us for wanting such things? Never, Sarah said firmly. Do you know what I think? I think Velkorians might want these things too, but somewhere along the way, someone decided it was weak to admit it. But wanting to be loved isn't weak. It's the most natural thing in the universe. The door chimed. The cubs tensed, but Sarah smiled. That'll be your parents. Ambassador Velkor and his mate entered, their expressions carefully neutral in the way of their species. But Sarah noticed the way their eyes immediately sought out their children, the slight relaxation in their postures upon finding them safe. We hope they were not too much trouble, Velkor said formally. No trouble at all, Sarah replied. We were just looking at photos of my family. Velkor's mate, whose name Sarah learned was Shera, tilted her head. They did not attempt to establish dominance? They were perfect, Sarah said. She met Shera's eyes meaningfully. They asked very good questions about how humans raise our young, about how we care for each other. Something passed between the two mothers, an understanding that transcended species. Shera's ears twitched. Perhaps we might speak again about such cultural differences. As the family prepared to leave, Plix hugged Sarah's leg. Thank you for showing us your memories. Venna looked up at her parents. Mother, father, the human says her grandmother is very old, and they keep her safe because they love her. She says love makes humans strong. Ambassador Velkor's expression was unreadable, but his voice was softer than Sarah had heard before. Perhaps we should discuss this human concept more thoroughly, as part of cultural exchange, of course. Kreth, still maintaining his role as the serious eldest, nodded once at Sarah. You are not what they say humans are. You are not soft. You are different strong. After they left, Sarah sat alone in her quarters, photo album open in her lap. She thought about the fear she'd seen in those young eyes, the longing for something they'd been taught not to want. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Shara. Ambassador Velcor requests formal meeting to discuss human child rearing practices. Unofficial reason. We wonder if there might be another way. Thank you for showing our cubs kindness. They have not stopped talking about your family. Sarah smiled and pulled up a response. She included a digital copy of several photos from her album, images of warmth and love and the messy, beautiful chaos of human family life. Maybe the galaxy saw humans as just another predator species, dangerous because of their forward-facing eyes and persistent hunting instincts. But perhaps humanity's real strength was simpler than that. Perhaps it was in the quiet moments, in teaching patience to a child, in caring for the elderly, in choosing love over the brutal efficiency of survival of the fittest. As she prepared for bed, Sarah added a new note in her captain's log. First contact with Velcorian youth successful. Recommendation: cultural exchange programs focusing on family structures may provide breakthrough in human Velcorian relations. Personal note: sometimes the strongest thing a predator can do is choose gentleness. The station's lights dimmed to night cycle. Somewhere in the diplomatic quarters, 3 cubs were learning that strength could look different than they'd been taught. And 2 parents were beginning to wonder if the human way of love might not be weakness after all, but a different kind of courage. Tomorrow, Sarah would submit her official report. But tonight she opened her photo album one more time, looking at the faces of the people who'd made her who she was. People who'd taught her that being powerful and being kind weren't opposites, that the fiercest protection came from love, not fear. In the end, maybe that was humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Not their weapons or their technology or their stubborn refusal to quit, but the simple, revolutionary idea that caring for each other wasn't weakness. It was the whole point.